Welcome to Bill the Drone Reviewer Podcast, episode 49, Rotor Talk Live, Zino 2 shipping update, PowerEgg X Hands On, and more. Got that coming up next. The other night on Rotor Talk Live with very special guest host Josh from Parks and Tech, we talked about Zino 2 shipping updates. Josh gave us a hands-on and told us about his experience with the PowerEgg X from Powervision, and we talked about FAA Remote ID. Without any further ado, let's roll that broadcast in its entirety. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live Season 3, Episode 6, Zino 2, PowerEgg X, and other updates. I have a very special co-host tonight, Josh from Parks and Tech. Josh, how are you this evening?
Hi, Bill. I'm doing well, thanks. Hanging on in there. Wish the weather around here.
I'm doing well. Celebrated my 9th wedding anniversary today.
That's
so
congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I would be remiss, and I'm going to be sharing my screen here. Let me get this up because I don't want to. If I screw this up, I'm in the forever doghouse. So we're not going to do this here. But wanted to share this. This was from February 11, 2011. This is those were our back up here. These are our official wedding portraits. There we go.
Aww.
That was taken in the hotel. I actually rented a limo for that, and it was a Ford Explorer limo. And the guy had to, in the development of where Valerie lived in, he couldn't turn around, so we had to go the long way out the development. And I was worried that we weren't going to make the. We were getting married at City Hall, so it really wasn't anything about that. So, but again, I wanted to just say happy anniversary to my beautiful wife. Thank you for 9 exceptional years. I'm looking forward to 9 more exceptional years. So, wanted to get all that done and out of the way here. Ron is on vacation tonight. He's visiting family or friends over in Pennsylvania. And as you know, Marcus is on vacation. And, Josh is here and he won't skip a beat. I can tell you that right now, okay? His love and his enthusiasm for quads is off the charts. So let me greet some people that are in here tonight. 3X Drones, Drone Shots, Arizona Drone Dude, Ted Bowman, Johnny Drone Flyer, Daniel's here, Tony Faz is here, John H., Stephen Ewing, Floyd Motes is here. Welcome, Floyd. Glad to see you here tonight. We got a jam-packed show. We got a lot going on tonight. Even though there's technically not a lot going on, there is a lot going on. About the only piece of news that I can pass on to you regarding DJI or DJI related is I heard from my contact that the Matrice 300 is currently undergoing FCC approval right now. And once it's approved, DJI's got the green light and they're going to get it out and get it sold. And I think that's going to be a great seller for that. So, so stay tuned. We got lots more coming up on that. Zino 2, we got some updates on that. Believe it or not. I mean, it's Josh. It seems like forever. When did you order your Zino 2? In December.
Oh boy, yeah. It was early December. Or not early December. No, I apologize. It was right before Christmas is when I ordered mine. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, yeah. I ordered mine on the 17th, I think. Marcus ordered his early. I think he ordered it on I know it was before Ron. Ron ordered his on the 14th. I ordered mine on the 17th, and Marcus was like maybe on the 10th or something like that. And one of the things we talked about on ZinoNation last night, which Josh was on too, and he did hear this. There were a number of people who've received theirs. And of course, we had Chad B on last night, and we're going to get Chad B on the show here. Really had a great time having him on. He wasn't able to make it tonight. But one of the things, the common denominator, and Ron and I had talked about this, was that everyone who got theirs got it with the extra battery in the case, okay? Because that's what Chad got. Blue Skyver up in Montreal, that's what he got. I'm sure L3 Toys, that's what they got. So there's the common denominator. That was what was available with from I guess they got shipped to Gearbest from Hubsan. So, but I do have an update, and I think this is a pretty significant update, and I want to get this up on the screen here. Okay, now this is from a chat that I had with Gearbest yesterday. I was checking your order and found there's a delay in the restock of your product due to the extension of the Chinese New Year. We expect to have this item available between February 14th and 15th, which is, as you know, it's right at the end of the week. I confirmed that it is in transit. It is not available right now. They're actually getting it from Hubsan. Thank you for your understanding and patience. Is there anything else I can do? So that's, Josh, that's definitely some good news.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's great news, and hopefully, you know, they absolutely stick to that and start getting everybody their Zino 2s. I know that there's been a ton of videos out there, you know, that have recently surfaced, and I mean, they're just so much fun to watch, you know, and it just gets you so excited. I think, at least for me personally, it gets me really excited.
Oh, I am too. Josh, you have some news about the Zino 2. Why don't you share that with everybody?
So I do. So actually, today, well, yesterday, I saw on Hubsan's website that they were starting to ship them. Now I know we knew about this a little while ago, but I saw it again yesterday that they were starting to have them in stock. They say, and that the estimated ship time was going to be February 14th or 15th, something like that, direct from Hubsan. So after last night's show, it kind of got me thinking, and you know, I really, you know, from watching all the videos, I really just, I get excited, you know, I really do for new products and new drones specifically. So I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to try a little test. I originally wanted to get 2 Zino 2s anyway. So I ended up actually getting one from Hubsan's website today.
Oh, wow. Today.
And yeah, so in that one, I'm going to be getting with the case and the extra battery. I figured for the extra $50 paying the full price for it, it was well worth it, specifically seeing that the batteries right now are selling for, you know, $75 or something like that on their own. So yeah, so we'll see which one gets here first. You know, everything went through, so we're good there. And so I ordered that today. Today's February 11th. So we'll see which one gets here first.
Now,
or Hubsan.
Did you get any confirmation from them, or just that they got that they got the order?
Just that they got the order and that it currently says processing. That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even get an email or anything like that. It just says that through my account. You know, when you sign in to Hubsan, if you go and look through your orders and so forth,
okay,
click on the status, it just says processing. So
talk about, you know, there's been, you know, Josh made reference to, there's been a lot of great videos out there already regarding the Zino 2. L3 Toys has put out some fantastic videos, and you know, it's very nice because they're in Malaysia and it's a warmer climate. Great landscapes of that. And then of course, you know, with Blue Skyver on that as well too. What do you think about that, Josh?
Oh, I apologize, Bill. I was trying to fiddle around with my audio. Is it any better now?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Okay, good. I had to switch. I just want to make sure I didn't get muted. And I'm sorry, Bill. What was the thought there?
We were talking about the you know, the videos from out in Malaysia versus you know, seeing the ones from Blue Skyver, and it's really easy to take a look and see about the color and how the color profiles are and how everything looks. Just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I mean, and you know, going back to you know, getting really excited about some of these drones, and specifically the Zino 2. I was watching a lot of videos from him, and you know, it's some of the videos out of, you know, obviously overseas that have really gotten me the most excited, just because, you know, it seems like everybody you know, overseas is getting theirs either a lot quicker, or I don't know, you know, how they ordered them. I know that there's a couple people here in the United States that have them, and you know, they've produced some videos, and some aren't even on YouTube. Some are in some of the Facebook groups, you know, that I saw, and you know, it's all in all, just getting really excited about this, which is why I wanted a second one, even though I don't even have a first one yet.
Well, you know, it's like, okay, well, Ken Dono, original Dobo, has a great saying. It's like you can always ask for forgiveness later. Okay, whenever you go out and you make decisions like that. So, I'm always with things like that. Of course, I always run things by my better half whenever I do things like that. So just, I know I got tax return coming back, and there's some things I definitely have to get with that, but I'm setting aside some of that money for drone money. So that's where that's going. But no, you make a good point that there's a lot of videos out there that we've seen on the Zino 2 that are just posted on Facebook. And I think you need to go to not only my group, but to Ron's group, ZinoNation. There's several other Zino groups out there out on Facebook. And I think guys need to go out and check that out. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. Yes, Stephen Ewing asked, did you see the waypoint video? You actually draw your route on the map. Stephen, yes, I did see that. That is absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's, I can't say enough about that because, it's akin to the Mavic 2 and what you can do with the Mavic 2 with waypoints, because I know it's ironic because a year ago at this time, I was working on waypoints and I did a series of videos on waypoints with the Mavic 2, and they're coming out with this in a $399 drone, Josh. I mean, I just, it's just, it kind of boggles my mind as far as that's concerned.
Oh, it sure is. And I mean, even at $499, in my opinion, I think is incredible. For everybody that got it in the pre-sale at $399, it's mind boggling. It really is for what it is. And, even at $499, if you end up picking it up after the initial hype's over and so forth, I think that you just can't go wrong. You really just can't go wrong. It's from the videos that we're seeing and from the reviews that we're seeing. And, obviously there's a lot of people that have, been posting YouTube videos, but you had mentioned again too, that in some of the Facebook groups, we're seeing, the people that might not have YouTube channels that are posting their videos and things like that. And those are like the videos too, that I really like to see, and some of the photos and so forth, because that's just everybody getting their Zino 2, and they're getting really excited about it, and they're willing to share their experience and share, the video and the quality. And I just think it's great. And at that price point, you just can't beat it.
Oh, absolutely. And, we're going to have Chad B on. Chad's one of those very fortunate few that actually have their Zino in hand. And he's actually got it up. He actually got it up for a test flight, and I believe it's probably like in his yard or on his property. But a couple of takeaways that I got from that after talking with him last night. I asked him specifically about the update process, because as you know, this is a brand new type of update process compared to the Zino and Zino Pro. I mean, this isn't, it's not a painstaking process as it was with that. And he said actually it took a few minutes and he was done. It went very smoothly. And the other thing that impressed me too was he talked about the stability of the aircraft. And, because I know when talking last year with both Ron and Marcus, they were both saying, when they got their Zinos up, it would do, I guess they called it the Hubsan drop, where, it would go up and then next thing you know, it was down, and it's, and it just was all over the place. And, Hubsan worked on it. They did do some improvements, but this year they have the optical flow sensor, Josh. And, you can't say enough about having that on the bottom of a drone. It makes such a difference.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Bill. It makes a huge difference. And, I was a victim of that Hubsan drop, as everyone called it, as well for a while. And I think a lot of people were, and it took them some time to really kind of get that worked out. But, I'm glad that they did. And, I had faith that they would. And, even when we had that, it wasn't the absolute complete end of the world by any means, and, you just had to kind of sit back and have faith that they would fix that. And I'm glad that they did. But seeing in the Zino 2, I'm glad they added the optical flow sensor on the bottom there. And it was really neat to hear that, Chad comment on how stable it was. So that's really exciting, specifically, in something new. And in this day and age, it seems like, even a lot of the toy grade, quadcopters that are coming out even have an optical flow on the bottom, of them. So definitely a good thing to have.
It really is. And, after, actually it was nice to be able to talk to Chad last night and kind of get some of his feedback and reaction and everything. And then, I saw Daniel in the chat, he said update process is real slick, no issue, but make sure you do it using the app, because I heard there's some serious issues with potentially doing it through your computer. So definitely that's something you want to pay attention to whenever you do get yours. So, but I think, it's exciting. It sounds like the 14th and 15th are going to be shipping, that Hubsan is sending stock to Gearbest. So stay tuned. I know you're going to have a contest to see which one of yours comes first. Whether the one from Hubsan comes first or the one from Gearbest comes first. But there's no loser in a contest like that. Okay, with
You're right.
Like
You're right.
Absolutely. So we're going to kind of switch gears here, and Josh has a new drone. And what did you get, Josh? Why don't you show us?
So, I finally was able to obtain the PowerEgg X. Now, this is, of course, in its natural form, without the props on them, and this is how it actually ships. Obviously in a case and so forth as well, which I do have down here. One thing I don't know how many of you in the chat actually have the original PowerEgg. Which also, of course, came in a case too, which is nice. The cases are very high quality. They're very well built. But my biggest thing with the original PowerEgg was that the plastic case didn't come with a handle. There was no way to carry it. So you're sitting around lugging this heavy thing. It's a big case, and the drone itself isn't light. So they added a handle and a little to the case this year, which is great, to the PowerEgg X. So. I thought I'd share that just because I got really excited over the handle. It's the little things in life.
Why don't you tell us about how you purchased it? Because I know that there's a little story behind that.
Yeah. So originally I tried to get it from Powervision's website. I looked online and it said, it would ship out in 24 hours. So I said, okay, great. No problem there. This was in January at some point. Again, I'm terrible with dates, so I apologize. But I do remember it was on a Friday that it was ordered, and I figured 24 hours. Okay, I ordered on Friday, and there's the weekend, so I said, okay, I didn't get any shipping notification or anything like that on Saturday, and I didn't think I would just because it was a weekend, but who knows. So I waited. I waited actually a full another week with no no shipping information. So I said, okay, interesting. And I'm actually a fan of Adorama in New York City. Now, I've never actually been to the actual retail location. I've never been to New York City, but so they ended up actually having it on their website, and I've used them before. They're very quick. They ship very quickly. I typically get their things and their items in 2 days, 2-3 days. So I said, okay, fine. So I ended up canceling the one with Powervision, and I was able to get it from Adorama, and I had it in 2 days. It was great. Yeah.
That's
How about
fantastic.
that?
Yeah. Adorama, excuse me, they did very good by me because I got my Autel X-Star Premium through them. And like you said, I got it in 2 days. It was very fast when they got it out. So they're a good company to deal with. So did you get the waterproofing option with your PowerEgg X?
So I did, yes. I had to get that just because I thought it was so cool that they claimed that this thing could fly in pouring down rain and still be stable and still be good to go. So I did get the kit, and I actually have some pieces to the kit here, of course. Now I haven't used these yet, but these are the what some people are calling the pontoons. The floaters, whatever you want to call them, but they attach to the legs of the quad and allows you to land on water. I don't really have a lake nearby or anything like that I've tried these on, so I have not tried these yet. I've seen other videos, and from what they're saying, when you actually do land this in water, these do sink. but you know, they sink a little bit below the top of the water, which I guess is concerning to some people. But again, I haven't tested that myself, so I'm just kind of going off of what someone else said in regards to, you know, the floaters. But I just think it's great. I mean, you know, if you're flying out over water and you know, you low battery, for example, something like that. We've all seen the videos where you know, the drone's coming back, trying to return to home out over water. They're really fun to watch. You know, gets your heart racing because you know, coming back on 1% battery. But with these, you don't have to worry about it. You know, you can just land in the water if you have to, and then figure out how you're going to get it later. So also in that kit is the waterproof housing itself.
Okay.
So here is the waterproof housing. You know, it is made out of plastic. There is a section here in the very front, which is where the you know, for the camera, because if you're not going to be able to see it through this this camera I have here, but it's very blurry everywhere else if you try to look through this plastic. But right here in the front, it has I don't know if it's a different type of plastic, but you can see through it very clearly. Now I have flown it with this on, and I've flown it in snow. I've also flown it in rain, and once you get something on the front that's in view of the camera, you know, it has to be wiped off unless it, you know, drips off or something like that. So it could potentially, you know, ruin footage unless you're going for that type of effect. You know, it just depends on what you're trying to shoot. So it's not like it just you know, runs right off, unfortunately. So it does become it could become an issue, you know, depending again on what you're trying to shoot.
Well,
But
you know,
I mean, that's to be expected.
yeah, you know,
You know?
you take a look at, for example, you know, a football game, like an NFL football game, you know, in some of those cameras, you know, if the wind's blowing the wrong way and it's raining, you know, it's the lens gets covered and they have to go to a different camera because of that. And there's just really kind of no technology out there that's going to prevent water from getting on that lens cover and doing that. Now, I know you watched Steve Captain Drone's video on the PowerEgg,
I did.
and one of the things that he did, which I thought was real interesting, is about 24 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was cold. One of the things he did, he sprayed some anti-fog spray on it and on from the inside to help. And it did help for a while, but because it was so cold, it's 24 degrees, you know, parts of it ended up fogging up, and those parts were up towards the top, which I thought was interesting. And the bottom was a little bit clearer on that. So, you know, that's something to take into consideration, you know, and if you're using it, you know, in a more moderate or temperate climate, you know, where the temperature and humidity aren't really kind of opposed to each other, you'll probably get some great video out of it, I would think. But again, you know, you're talking about, and it showed on Steve's video where, you know, there were some water drops on there and you could see that, and it was pretty obvious. So, you know, that's you know, while, you know, people have always been talking about, oh, you know, waterproofing like a Phantom 4 or the Mavic 2 series or that, which in theory it's all good. But here we have the case right here. And this is something I've always been saying is, you know, water droplets coming on that lens. I mean, that's just gonna ruin it. I mean, if you're out there trying to get a cinematic type of shot. Now, conversely, you know, like on some of the higher end DJI drones, you know, like the Matrice, you know, those are rated to be, you know, waterproof type of drones. You know, all the components are waterproof, but you know, they're looking more at, like, for instance, for like thermal imaging and maybe just search and rescue, trying to find lost people, that type of thing. So, you know, getting that clear, sharp cinematic image isn't as important in an instance like that.
You're right. You're absolutely right, Bill. You know, it all depends on what you're trying to get. You know, if in that instance you are just trying to you know, locate something, or you're just trying to do an inspection, even, you know, and we know that, you know, drones these days are being used for that. And you know, sometimes you just can't wait for Mother Nature to be perfect every day. I mean, look, in Western Pennsylvania, it's been you know, raining, snowing, cloudy. You know, you name it. We haven't seen the sun in a little while, although we did finally see the sun today after a huge little snow. Well, I called it huge little. It's kind of counterproductive, but yeah, it's just one of those things. It just depends on what you're really trying to do and what you're trying to go after. If you're looking for something for cinematic footage with this case on in the pouring down rain or in the snow, you're just probably not going to get it.
Yeah, I don't think that was the purpose behind it. I think the purpose is to be able to get your drone out and fly during those type of that type of environment. I think that's what PowerVision was probably trying to shoot for here. So you've got it up, you've had it up a couple of times. What's your and I know you really haven't had a great instance to be able to fly it, and it's not been, the weather hasn't been perfect. What are your initial thoughts behind flying it? The ability, how easy it was, how it handled, that type of thing.
Yeah, so it is a pretty quick drone. I really enjoyed my time flying it, and what very little that I had. So just full disclaimer, of course, as you mentioned, Bill, I haven't really flown it a lot, and of course in really nice weather I haven't either, or even high winds. But from the short amount of experience that I've had flying it, I mean, I enjoyed. I haven't seen any issues. It was stable. It is very fun to fly. No real problems there. And it had some speed to it, at least in my opinion. It's not definitely not as fast as some of the other quads out there, but I mean, it seems to fly very nice, and it is stable. It's very responsive. At least the model that I have. I don't know if anybody else had any other issues with that or not. From some of the videos that I saw, I didn't see that as being any of the other issues. But I've had a great experience so far. I can't really complain.
Now, have you found any quirks about this? Because I know, I know you had some, and that also segue into, what do you think the big difference is between the first PowerEgg and this PowerEgg?
So the first PowerEgg, I mean, the most obvious difference there is that the first PowerEgg was huge. I mean, that thing is a beast. It really is a beast. It is a little awkward to carry around. First, of course, because of the case without a handle or any way to really carry it. Second, because it was very heavy. And third, it's difficult to maneuver, because that gimbal is directly on the bottom. And then you have to try to worry about pulling out all the arms, and then you got to triple tap that power button on the top while holding it, which isn't that difficult, but it's just kind of a little bit of a pain, and wait for those legs to deploy. So it was just a little awkward, to maneuver and to carry around. So of course that brings us to the PowerEgg X, which is a lot smaller. A little bit easier to carry around with you, and to maneuver. The one thing I must say about the PowerEgg X that's a little different, and you can see I took the top cover off there, and of course the bottom cover. And one of my major concerns is the ability to be able to put these legs on and off. They don't lock in. There's no locking mechanism that holds them in. It's really just pressure and force is what really holds them in, and it is a little difficult to sometimes get them off. So I'm clipping it in here, and you just push it in. So you got to make sure that it's pushed in all the way. Now that's not going to go anywhere. I mean, that's in. But
Right.
depending on what you're using it for, if you're going to mount it on a tripod, or if you're going to use it as a handheld camcorder at all, you're gonna have to take these off, and that just took a little bit of force to get that off. And I'm just worried about these connections. After how many times can these connections withstand that? Going back in and coming back out. So, I mean, I hope that's not a problem. I hope that's not an issue, but that's just something that I'm concerned about with this. That's all.
Well, it's like, for me, I need to hear something click. I need to have, a visual or verbal cue, a visual cue that's something you can hear the snap and see it snap, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I I agree with you on that. I think that's something. I mean, even if their engineers put something in place just to have a sound in there, so you know it's okay. I mean, that's that's a little. I agree with you. I think that's a little concerning. I wish they would have had thought about something like that.
I agree. I agree with you completely. And like I said, when you first push that in, you do have to remember to give it that extra push to get it to make sure it's in and connected. Now, I'm sure if it's not pushed all the way in, and I haven't tried this yet, but if it's not pushed all the way in and you try to turn it on, maybe it won't recognize that they're attached. I don't know that for sure. I would hope that it would tell you that it's not attached and it wouldn't still get power and then have those props be loose. But it's just very concerning. To me, I'd have to say that's probably the biggest concern I have that I've noticed so far is really just trying to get those on and off and that connection, because these connections are also used to attach the tripod mount and to also attach the handle, for the camcorder. So I mean, it uses those same connections. Now, of course, they're made a little differently, but still, it makes you wonder how strong these connections are and so forth.
Yeah, that is something to talk to be concerned about. Tell us a little bit about the app. What are your thoughts about that? I mean, is it a good app? Is it an easy user interface?
So I mean, overall, the app is pretty easy to use. I haven't found any issues using the app. It hasn't crashed or anything like that. I do want to mention that I do use Android. I don't use iOS at all. So I am an Android boy. Just to throw that out there. But the app, the app itself is, like I said, very easy to use. I haven't had any issues with it. The one thing that I didn't like about it is that it uses an app that is used for something else. So it uses the Vision 2 Plus app, and the Vision 2 Plus app is also used for some of their underwater quads. Or I shouldn't call them quads. I apologize. Underwater drones, vehicles, whatever you want to call them. And I was never really a big fan of that. I think that for each device, they should just create a separate app. Who knows if there's going to be other issues. I mean, they could send an app update that for one of their underwater rovers that could potentially break something with the app for the PowerEgg X. I mean, you just don't know. I would hope that they would have a system in place to be able to allow that not to happen. But I mean, you just never know. You just never know. But to answer your question, Bill, overall, I mean, if you've used DJI's app, if you used even the Zino app, I mean, they're all pretty similar, at least in my opinion. Somebody else might disagree with me, and that's fine, But if you've flown before, a lot of the apps are fine, and I mean, as long as you play around with a little bit beforehand, you'll know where everything is. But pretty easy for the most part.
Okay. So what about pricing? I know there's the base unit, and then there's the unit that you got with the waterproofing option. What's the difference in price there?
So the base unit by itself is $899.
Okay.
At least at normal pricing, and then with the waterproof case and accessory kit, you're looking at $1249.
Okay.
So $350 difference there. But in my opinion, I think it's worth it, because also in that waterproof case, it's more than just the case and the floaters. You end up getting an extra battery with that as well, so that's pretty cool. I don't know how much those batteries go by themselves. And you also get a little extra. I haven't even taken out of the packaging yet, but the a little carrying case for the for the props as well. So both of the props fit in here, so for easy travel. But I think it's worth it. If you plan on flying either in the rain or flying even around water, or if you live in an area that maybe it does snow a lot. You don't have to put it in the waterproof casing to do that, but maybe you still want to attach the, these floats, and you can use them as skids, to land on, either snow or ice or mud, maybe. things like that. So, I mean, it depends on where you're flying and what you plan on using it for, and whether or not maybe you should go with uh, the base unit plus the waterproof accessories, or if you just want to go with, the base unit itself.
Now, it's always nice with those pontoons, and I know, having talked to Rick Smith, anytime your drone sits up off the ground, that's a good thing because, you can land on rough terrain at times. You can land on tall grass.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, when Ron and I went out to the beach here and we flew out there, one of the things that I did when I got home right away was, I used my landing pad, but I got a can of compressed air and I sprayed the daylights out of it, especially around the gimbal, the camera, the whole area,
Mm-hmm.
the whole assembly up there, because sand is very invasive. It'll go everywhere. Okay. And, and I advised Ron, I told, Ron lives by the beach, so he knows that he has a can of compressed air with him all the time. He says, especially when he goes flying near the beach because of the sand. And,
Mm-hmm.
that getting your drone, sitting up there like that, it gets that gimbal off the ground and, you don't get things in there. And that's always a key. So even just, being able to maybe, I don't know if PowerVision does it, but maybe they can sell, maybe they might sell part of those accessories like a la carte kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can buy just like the pontoons. I think maybe people might do something like that and be able to, land their drone. You could use that fine and perfectly in normal weather. And also too, like you said, if you're running out of juice and it's going to land in a pond, at least you have it upright and explore your options to go out there and get it. Because otherwise, when it goes in, it goes in. There's not a whole lot you can do about that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bill, and you touched upon a really good point. And I really wish we would know the answer, and I hope that they do. But I hope PowerVision does start selling these individually, like you said, a la carte. I think that's going to be huge for people, because maybe you don't want everything that comes in that case. Maybe an extra $350. That's a lot of money. That's that's almost the price of the Zino 2 on sale.
Mm-hmm.
So just for some added accessories. So I really hope that they do end up doing that, because I think they probably get even more sales. Just my thoughts.
Well, one of the things before we kind of wrap things up here, and I just had some thoughts. When you're flying up there, and I think about it like this. I just got my truck washed the other day, and I never drive. I always go through the drive-through. Down in Florida, I have not washed a vehicle since I moved down here. Okay, I always get it done. Go to the car wash to get it done. But one of the things, and I usually go to the $5 car wash where at the end, whenever you start going on, and usually it's by a highway, so it's kind of nice because I'm up to 55, 60. All that water runs off. And I was just thinking about this with the PowerEgg.
Mm-hmm.
When you put the plastic cover on, when you're out there, if you increase the speed on that, a lot of that water, especially on the front, is going to dissipate off there. So, you'll be able to get some of those shots. And also too, Josh, the other thing that I was thinking was this is, you're not going to be out so much, when the weather's really inclement. You're not really going to be doing a lot of cinematic, videotaping. Okay. It's going to be more for like a personal use kind of a thing. But still, you want to be able to get some shots. And I would think, if you would, crank it up, like put it in sport mode, run that water off of it and then come back and maybe do some of your videotaping, you might get all the water off it. It might help.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Really, really good point. And that's definitely not something that that I've tried. At least noticed. I've definitely had it at full speed and in the rain, and it just kept coming down though too. So, I didn't really have a break or be able to really notice that. But that's a really good point, and that could absolutely work. I agree with you.
That's that's
Yeah,
something I think we
absolutely.
need to bear in mind. Now, again, Josh, when the weather's going to get nice, he's going to get out and get some more test flights in. So definitely. By the way, if you guys haven't subscribed to Josh before, we've had him on the show. Please do check him out. His link is in the description. Please subscribe to him. He has an awesome channel. It's just more than drones. He does a lot of camera and tech gear on there. You definitely want to check it out. And I know he's going to be producing some great videos on the PowerEgg X and also on the Zino 2 when he gets them. So you definitely want to stay tuned. We're going to kind of switch gears here a little bit, and we're going to spend the last part of the show now. Everybody has been talking about the FAA remote ID. I mean, it's to the point where people want to pull their hair out, kind of talk, okay, and say, you're hearing a lot of doom and gloom. Woe is me! I'll never be able to fly again. All my drones are going to get bricked. I might as well just throw them out. I might as well not ever buy a drone again. To people that are saying, that it isn't going to be the way it is, and things are going to need to change to take place. Well, the big topic as of late is being able to comment on it. And I think the last I looked, I think there was about 11,000 comments out there, which is fantastic. A couple of things before I get to what I want to talk about here. The AMA, the American, they're the Model Aircraft Association. They're headquartered in Indiana. They have the private fields where you can go fly your radio controlled planes. Okay. And I'm a member of that. And it's called the AMA. They're encouraging their members. They actually put out like a boilerplate template to copy out on their website and say, kind of craft it as your own. And everyone is saying, time out. You don't want to copy this. Okay. You don't want to, because the FAA is going to know that you've cut and pasted this and put, you need to be creative. You need to do things on your own. Well, DJI had said, Brendan Schulman put out a great article about remote ID. He's the vice president of legal and policy affairs for DJI. And he has a great Twitter account. If you don't follow him, please do. He does put a lot of relevant information out there. He did put out a blog entry probably about a week or two ago about DJI's response to remote ID, which I think is fantastic. And if you haven't read it, please do so. But one of the things he mentioned in there was that DJI was going to come out with a guide on how to answer this. Well, they have. And that's one of the things I want to go over here is this. And I think it's important enough to go over this. And there is a link in the description. And I highly encourage everybody to go check this out. And it's called Be Heard, DJI's Tips for Commenting on the FAA's Proposed Remote ID Rule. And what it does here is it goes into how you should do it. It talks about a short list of steps. Who are you and what do you do, or what do you want to do with drones? How are you impacted, and by which requirements or restrictions? Be specific. What's a better or less burdensome way to achieve the same goal? Answer the FAA specific questions that affect you. And don't forget to comment on the aspects you support. Now, the rest of this article gets into that information, and I'll let everybody take a look at this and read through this. And again, the link's in the description. And if you haven't left your comment yet, I highly recommend that you go and you look at this and this guide here, even with this short list of steps, because I think it'll make a big difference on how you comment and how you put your comment out there. I actually haven't done mine yet because I've had a lot on my plate, and I'm planning on doing it this weekend because March 2nd is going to roll around and be here before you know it. Josh, have you had a chance to comment on that yet?
I haven't. I haven't actually. And, I read that article, about what DJI recommends. And, I've been kind of working on something, every little chance I get, just trying to fine tune it, before I actually post it. I know it's really, really important to make sure that, we say it correctly. We say what we want to say, why we agree with it or don't agree with it, or what we'd like changed. It's definitely good to be specific, and I know we don't want to just bash them for it by any means. So it is something that I've been kind of taking my time with, and just trying to make sure that, I get everything right, before I post that. I don't know how much they really take a look at these. I'm sure if they see some comments on there that might be, vulgar or, just basically bashing them, without giving any type of what they would recommend to try to help both parties, then they might just disregard it, but who knows, they might find a really, really good idea in there, because people took that extra time to get their comment out there. And it is definitely very important to make sure that you do in some way, shape, or form to get it out there to them so that your voice can be heard.
Stephen Ewing in the comments, and he brought up a great point here. And remember, you don't need to be a United States citizen to give your feedback. And I think that's really important here, Stephen. Thank you for putting that in the comments here, because I know, a lot of people watch our shows around the world, over in the United Kingdom, Europe, Australia. I've taken a look at my demographics, and that's where, a lot of people watch me, and in Canada. And I think it's important here because, I had some of my Canadian drone friends, message me and say, don't you think that Canada is going to watch and see what the United States does, and that they'll mold their law after what or rules after what the United States does? And I think this is why this is important. And, Stephen, you brought up a great point. And I would suggest not only for those of us here in the United States, but around the world, if you fly a drone, if you're a drone enthusiast, if you're a drone hobbyist, get out there, put a comment out there, follow these guidelines, because it's going to eventually affect all of us, not just here in the United States. This is going to have a worldwide type of impact. And I think the other thing is this, and DJI's tried to really get this message across. And I don't know how much more I can say this. How many people were killed by a drone last year? Okay. The answer, Metro Drones, thank you so much. Happy Tuesday to you. Really appreciate that. How many people were killed by drones last year? The answer is zero. Nobody was killed by a drone. Okay. Now, I can't answer what's going on in war-torn countries and them using it for weapons and all that kind of stuff, but I'm talking about here in the United States. Nobody was killed by a drone last year. Okay. And, everybody says, we need stringent rules. We need something fair and balanced. Okay. We need something that's going remote ID. It in its essence, at its core, it's needed. We do need to have something like this. Okay. Because it's not like driving a car. All right. If Josh decides to go down to, his local McDonald's and get something and come back, we don't need to know about that. Okay. But if Josh decides to take his plane up near, or take his one of his drones up near Greater Pittsburgh International Airport, people are going to know about that. We want to know about stuff like that. Okay. I don't mean to single you out, Josh, but, I want to get the point across is, there are certain scenarios that we want to know about and certain we don't know about. And one of the big things in there was, that a lot of this data would go to law enforcement, which it should. All the data should go to law enforcement, but it would also be available to private citizens. And I think that needs to be eliminated. Okay. You know what? If Josh decides to fly his drone down the street, I'm happy for Josh. I think it's a great thing, but I don't need to know about it. Okay. And Josh doesn't need to know that I've taken my 395th flight out over my lake out behind my house. Okay. We don't need to know this information. Okay. This isn't information that's vital to national security. However, if you're flying in a restricted flight zone and a TFR, then of course, you're going to need to know about that. And law enforcement is going to need to know about that. And there are mechanisms in place. Look how quick they caught that gentleman during the Super Bowl because there was a TFR in effect. I mean, there was no questions asked. They found him right away and got him. So that technology is there. What they're proposing in here, and one of the things, Chad, welcome. I'm glad to see you we're here tonight. Glad you're, and we had a great time with you on ZinoNation last night. Glad to see you here. One of the things that I think is really important here is this. The whole concept is correct. We do need to do this. However, the proposal that they have out there is not a workable solution. It's not workable technology. It's not doable technology. Okay. Having this be internet based, that's way off the mark. Okay. Marcus brought up a good point. He goes out to Snake River Canyon, okay, out in Idaho. There's no cell phone signal out there. He's not going to get internet. So, the way the proposal reads, he couldn't fly. But, what Brendan Schulman did with what DJI's proposal is to leverage ADS-B, the current technology that is in now, it's all in all private aircraft, to install that in in the drones, and to kind of retrofit all our drones with this technology. And I think it's a fairly easy thing to do. I don't know all the technical aspects of this, and that would make it a simple, streamlined, easy solution, and something that could be monitored. And a lot of people were also talking, Josh, about companies like UPS and Amazon, and trying to get their money out of this, which obviously they're kind of gearing this way. But I think one of the things is they're still a ways away from being able to perfect that technology. I mean, they still have to operate on line of sight rules like everybody else does. So a UPS truck would have to go at the beginning of your neighborhood and launch its drone, and they got and the time that it takes him to set up and to fly and all that stuff, he could have driven and dropped your package off before that. So, I mean, it's these kind of things, that a lot of people aren't really seeing. But conversely, on the other hand, service providers like Kitty Hawk, okay, they're going to be making a ton of money off of this, the way the rule is proposed right now, because of it being an internet-based service. So, they obviously want to keep it the way it is. I personally think they're gonna do something more along the lines that's going to line up with what DJI says. That makes a lot of sense. Leveraging existing technology I think is a very smart move, because as I've stated before, the technology what they have proposed out there, they wrote this down on paper. They did not run this through any type of model or simulation or anything, because it flat out, it just won't work. Josh, any of your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, Bill, I mean, I agree with you on this. And, this is really the first time that I've ever really kind of spoke up and actually really shared my opinion, other than, with my fiance, Megan, on this. And, I agree that there needs to be some policing. I agree, because there's more and more drones that are coming out there, and it needs policing. Specifically with these quads that can go 3 to 6 miles away from you. There needs to be policing. And it's easy right now for a lot of people to go out and buy one, and and here in the United States, you pay your $5 and you can do the FAA, and you can go ahead and put that baby up in the air. And you just have to hope that these people follow the rules. And there's been quite a few instances where people haven't followed the rules. But then there's a vast majority of people that do. And, there's way more that do follow the rules than there are that don't. And it's those few bad apples that really kind of set everything off for everybody else. And so I agree that there needs to be, some policing with these. And there needs to be an easy way for, law enforcement to be able to see, oh, hey, there's a drone in the air, or know where that thing is and know who's operating it. But there's absolutely no need for the public to know who it is, where they are, or where they're flying. There's no need for that. And that's just going to bring about a ton, way more problems, in my opinion, than what it's worth. These people can, if they can see locations, they could not only just come and mug you and take your drone and run, but they could just hassle you. There's a lot of people out there that hate the idea of these things being in the air, and everybody thinks that we're spying on them. Everybody thinks that drone that's up in the air is spying on them and only them. And it's not. We're not. So I agree again that there needs to be some policing, and there needs to be a way to do that, but it shouldn't be at our expense, because I just think that the drone industry I don't think it's going to crumble by any means, but if something like this would be put in place, this is going to hurt a ton of people. And not to mention all of the drones that everybody has now aren't going to work, because they're not going to be able to have that technology to report or broadcast, the way that it's supposed to. And it's ridiculous in that regard. But I do agree that there needs to be some policing. And I just hope that, the FAA can come to a good solution, hopefully with all the comments that people post. Hopefully there's some really, really good ideas in there and some different ways that they can do this. DJI had a great one. That I would be perfectly fine if they went that route. I just don't want it to destroy the hobby for everybody.
I agree, Josh. That
Yeah.
was very well stated. Thank you for that. I mean, you know, I can't. One of the things, and I keep trying to say this, and I know I've been kind of mentioning this on most of my shows coming up here. March 2nd is coming up, guys, and my suggestion is carve out a couple hours on Saturday, put together a good statement here. Follow the guidelines, especially the DJI's written up. Avoid using any kind of boiler template. I mean, I know the AMA is a great organization. I'm a member of it, but don't follow that template. Follow what DJI put out there. Put your own words down there. Okay. Say something. I'm so and so. I'm a hobbyist. I enjoy being able to videotape my property and help my friends out if they have needs. I think that this will interfere with my ability to be able to do this freely. Nobody needs to know, except for the government, where I'm flying, when I'm flying, who I'm flying. I don't have to, the government should have access to the information, but other people, just be creative, craft something like that, put that together. I think that's huge. I think that's something that will make a difference when they see these kind of statements out there. And Josh mentioned it. You don't want to go off and, fly off the handle with 4-letter words and saying, the FAA sucks and you guys are a bunch of whatevers. And, they're going to pass right over all these comments, guys. They're not going to read them. And they're going to do the same thing with a lot of these boilerplate comments that have been copied. Don't do that either. Put your own original thoughts down there, And the other piece of advice I would say is this. Don't write War and Peace. Okay. Don't write, if you want to put 1,000 words, 1,500, 2,000 words out there, go for it. But my whole thing is this, and I heard this from some some professional pilots, private pilots, when there's been rules for them, and it's much more effective and it's much more likely to be taken in a better context the more succinct it is. Not saying short, but succinct. Okay. And that would be my advice. Say what you need to say in the least amount of words is basically what I'm saying here. So as far as all that's concerned, I'm just going to look through the comments here for a little bit. Tony Fast, no one needs to know where you are flying except the FAA for the sole purpose of safety, period. You're right, Tony. I agree. I agree. And if they need to pass that information on to law enforcement, they need to do that. So that's definitely true. Floyd Motes puts up a good point. Is flying beyond visual line of sight good for the drone community? It's against the FAA rules, but half of everyone on YouTube does it. That's one thing that makes me get real irritated with drone flyers. That's another good point too, Floyd. So, Josh, we're at the point of the show where we're going to have some closing thoughts. I'm going to pass it on to you. Any closing thoughts about anything we talked about tonight?
So, I think the biggest thing, I have two things, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
First thing with the PowerEgg X, and this is something that, I mentioned last night on ZinoNation, but I did not mention yet here today for those of you who didn't see that yesterday. But so I have not gotten a chance to fly this in sunny weather. So I know that there's a couple issues out there with it. A couple people that have an issue with the camera where, the left side of that video is out of focus or blurry, specifically, in far off distances. Up close, everything appears to be in focus. So I have not been able to really see that because I haven't really had a nice sunny day to be able to check that out and really examine that. I tried to examine it with some of the footage that I have, and it's hard to say one way or the other. So I don't know if something like that is a hardware issue, if it is what they said a firmware issue, or if it's just because it's cold. It seems like everybody that is flying it has flown it in cold weather. So it could just be that, and I hope it's that simple. I really do. But all in all, I really like it. It has been fun to fly so far. So, my video itself has been really delayed, and I know I haven't posted a video in about a month now, and that's unfortunate. But I'm really trying to test a couple things and trying to get everything that I can together to really produce a good solid video specifically for this, and then quite a few other items as well. So all that is really coming. I've been saying that for a little while, but just bear with me. I really appreciate the patience there. Second, in regards to the new FAA rules that they're proposing, and again, this is really the first time that I've ever really gotten to talk about it again, other than really with my fiance. I haven't posted any opinions. I haven't done any videos on it, and I probably won't, to be honest with you. But I truly think that all of us getting together and being able to I guess really fight for what we truly believe in and what we want to do. The bottom line, most of us, we just want to fly, and we have a great time doing it. That's why we got into this hobby, is to fly and to have fun. We don't want to interrupt anybody else from trying to make money if that's what they want to do with this. But most of us are just flying just for fun. And in the end, if they're taking our fun away from us, there's going to be just so many people that are going to be stuck, and they're going to get out of the hobby, and they're going to go do something else. And you know what? The drone industry might suffer a little bit because they're not going to get that money. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. It's just my thought. And I just think that I don't know. I just think there's a lot more harm in that than there is good.
Josh, I couldn't agree with you more. I think, and I'll have that in a second in my closing thoughts here. First of all, we talked about how, got some good news about the Zino 2. It looks like the 14th and 15th, the Gearbest is going to be shipping them, which is definitely some good news. So stay tuned about that. L3 Toys, Blue Skyver, Chad B now. Several people have them and are getting videos out there, and it's great seeing that. It's great seeing that horizon tilt issue is no longer an issue. It's great hearing that update process is fantastic. I'm excited about the controller having telemetry data on it. I think that's also going to be something that's going to be incredibly awesome. If for some reason, your app goes wonker, you still have that data and you can get your drone back. So there's a lot of great things to look forward to with that. It was great hearing that Josh is so excited, got another Zino 2 coming in. So we'll place bets on who's gonna get there, which one's gonna get there first. And it was also great to find out about the PowerEgg X. I think that's a incredibly unique concept. I really like what they're doing here. This is not what I would call a toy drone. I think that this is along the lines of a Mavic Air type drone. I believe it fits in that niche right there. The base unit is under $1,000, which I think is a very key point. And I think Powervision did real well to keep that under $1,000 and to have a great feature set on there. I looked at the runtime. I think the runtime on their site said about 30 minutes. So, it packs a lot with it. And when you get that waterproofing kit with it, you just extend the capabilities and the reach of this so much more. It's just absolutely fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing videos from Josh on this. I know he's only been able to get it up a couple of times, but and he's had some initial thoughts and reactions to it. And it was great to be able to have him show it to us and to be able to tell us firsthand how his experience is with it. So Josh, thank you very much for that tonight. And then, last but not least, remote ID. I think personally, number one, this isn't going to happen overnight. Whatever is done, we're not going to see this at the end of the year. We're not even going to see this next year. It's at least 2, if not 3 or 4 years out. Don't think that DJI doesn't have a stake in this. They have a huge stake in it. They're, for all intents and purposes, they're the largest drone manufacturer in the world. And obviously they want the hobby to continue. And the whole other thing with the government and them taking away their, Chinese drones, that's a whole separate topic, but this is more on remote ID that we're focusing on here. I think personally, they're going to come to a meeting of the minds. I think they're going to come to a great understanding that what's written down is not going to work. They're going to go with a proposal more along the lines of what DJI has proposed and leverage existing technology. and not place the burden on the consumer, and also to make sure that that data goes to the FAA, okay? And that if the FAA needs to notify law enforcement, it goes to law enforcement. We don't need to know any of that, like I had mentioned here. So, but Josh raised a lot of great points on this. And, I personally, I don't want to see this destroy the hobby, because it's a fantastic hobby. It's something that, anyone from teens could get into this and up. Who doesn't like the thrill of being able to fly an aircraft up there and shoot incredible cinematic shots? Okay. The thrill of being able to do that and to capture some of the sunsets that I've captured and some of the scenes I've captured along the beach and everything. And just, the Skyway Bridge down here. It's just incredible to be able to do this. This is something you can only do by helicopter years ago. Okay. You can't, but now you have this within, a $1,500 drone can go up and give me cinematic shots like a $1.5 million helicopter. I mean, it's incredible, and it's really something I think I really appreciate the hobby, and I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in each week to watch us. And I think, and I speak for Josh, I speak for myself, for Marcus, for Ron, for all of us out there. We do this because we like it. Okay. We don't do this for the money. Okay. Even though my channel is monetized, let me tell you folks, okay, it's not a winning proposition. If I were dependent upon this, we'd be having a lot of ramen noodles and bread and water. Okay. But that's not how it goes. That's not why I'm in this. The money that comes in from this, and I think Josh knows about this too, the money that I get in, I just reinvest it, okay? I'm getting equipment. I'm getting cameras. I'm buying new drones. I'm buying accessories for drones. I'm buying batteries, okay? I'm buying things for the room in here, okay, and other things. So, we reinvest this. And I think the bottom line is this, I view myself as a teacher, okay? And I think Josh would agree with this too. He's a teacher as well. Marcus and Ron, we're all teachers out here, okay? We're showing people how to use this technology and how to leverage this technology, whether they want to use it for their own personal use as a hobbyist, or that they want to go professional and to be able to do it for, real estate photography like Ken Dono has done. And Ken does a fantastic job with that. It's something I think we take seriously. I take it seriously. That's why I love doing these shows. That's why I love doing Rotor Talk Live, and getting people out there and talking about things. And that's why I love doing my videos, because I want to help people. I want to make sure that people get questions answered and that they be able to enjoy this hobby. So, that's it for me for tonight. I want to thank everybody in the chat. We had a fantastic chat tonight. I want to thank everyone that was in there. Metro Drones, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Tony Faz, David D, Floyd Moats, Ray Kelly, Curtis Dart was in tonight. Curtis, good to see you. I know Art was here tonight. I know Chad B made an appearance. Let me see who else here. I'm going to run through and scroll up here. Steve Mack was in. Let's see who else. Stephen Ewing was here. Ray Kelly was in tonight. Just David D. Had a lot, like I said, a lot of great people here tonight. So, Josh is going to be with us again next week. So obviously I have no idea what our topics are going to be, but I'm sure we'll have some good drone talk. Ron, looking forward. Ron should be back. So we'll get Ron back. And Marcus is taking some time off. He's on vacation, and that's good for him. So with everything said, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.